Good evening, one and all, dear ladies and gentlemen, and dear friends. On behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art, Bengaluru, and Embassy of Brazil, New Delhi, I welcome you for the inauguration ceremony of the exhibition, Brasilia 60+, and the construction of modern Brazil. The exhibition is presented by National Gallery of Modern Art, Bengaluru, in collaboration with the Embassy of Brazil, New Delhi. The exhibition is organized under the auspices of Cultural Exhibition Program, India and Brazil. This evening, we have with us as the distinguished guest, Mr. Chiranjiv Singh, former Ambassador of India to UNESCO, Mr. Lucas Fronta, Head of Culture and Head of the Political Section, Embassy of Brazil, Mr. Subarna Patro, Curator, National Gallery of Modern Art, Bengaluru. I request the distinguished guest to kindly come up on stage, grace the occasion by lighting of the lamp. Request Mr. Subarna Patru, my colleague, to kindly give the welcome address on this occasion.
Thank you, Darshan. Very good evening to all the dignitaries, art lovers, friends and others. On the behalf of Director NGMA Bangalore, Ms. Nazneen Banu, I would like to thank you all for joining us for this auspicious event today. The National Gallery of Modern Art Bangalore is happy to present Brasilia 60+ and construction of modern Brazil for public view today. This exhibition is organized by Embassy of Brazil in New Delhi and the National Gallery of Modern Art Bangalore to mark the occasion of 200 years of Brazil's independence and 75 years of Indian independence under the banner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Before coming to the NGMA, this exhibition was also exhibited at National Gallery of Modern Art, New Delhi, and Government Museum at Chandigarh Art Gallery. We are thankful to Embassy of Brazil to bring this well-photo-documented show of the construction of modern Brazil to Bangalore NGMA. I'd like to thank especially His Excellency Mr. Andre Aran Correa do Lago, Ambassador of Brazil to India, for his initiation and support, and also Mr. Lucas Frota, Head of the Culture and Head of the Political Section in Embassy of Brazil, for his valuable suggestion to curate this exhibition. I am also thankful to Ms. Rashmi Ghosh from Embassy of Brazil, New Delhi, for her continued coordination to execute this exhibition. This exhibition has mostly photographic work displayed at Brazil 60+, and we hope this exhibition will bring a more diversified view of the public. Moreover, I would like to specially thank NGMA Director Ms. Nazneen Banu for all her support to make the exhibition happen at Bangalore with a great success. I would also like to thank my colleague Mr. Darshan, Ms. Amrita, Deputy Curator, Mr. Shailendra Singh Baghel, Assistant Curator, Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee, Technical Assistant, and all other NGMA Bangalore team members for their effort to make the show happen. Last but not least, I would like to thank Ministry of Culture and Government of India for their constant support to NGMA Bangalore in making this event a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now request Mr. Lucas to kindly give his address.
Thank you, Subhana, for organizing this, for doing everything so that we accomplish our project. Thank you, Ambassador, for coming to this opening. It's an honor to have you here. I want to acknowledge our consul here, Aparal, as well. Thank you very much for your support here in Bangalore. So just going back a few decades in history, 60 years ago, a visionary president decided to build a new capital in the exact geographic middle of a country that was very sparsely populated, mostly populated by the coast, in our Atlantic coast. And in less than 4 years, he accomplished that goal. He built a new city. Of course, the city wasn't finished. Cities are never finished, right? So the city wasn't finished, and it still isn't finished. But in 4 years, they accomplished not just the president, all the people who were moved to the middle of Brazil to build a new capital. They accomplished what many people thought was impossible physically, and they thought it would also bankrupt the country to build a new capital. And people were happy in Rio de Janeiro as well, so they saw no reason to move the capital inland. It was maybe a crazy idea back at the time, but now if it was a visionary idea, most of people think, and they ended up creating one of the biggest architectural masterpieces we have today, especially when we talk about modernist architecture. That's mostly what I hope you will see in this exhibition that we have specially curated for you. Photographs of Brazil, the pioneers of Brasilia, the first people who moved there, laid the first bricks, put the first cross in Brasilia. So we have this tradition when we want to open something in our country, the first thing we do is put a cross there. So you will see that photograph as well. And these were the pioneers. So we'll see the photographs of these people, the first pioneers in the very, very middle of Brazil. So there was nothing there, nothing there. So they decided to build this new capital. And then we'll move on to the photographs of the construction and the finished buildings and the urbanistic layout of the city. So I hope that the photographs which we have brought here to Bangalore will represent the city well. You get an idea of what the city is, how it feels like to live in Brasilia. I'm not from Brasilia. I'm from the northeast of Brazil, but I grew up in Rio, the former capital. And I love Brasilia. I don't think Brasilia has the restaurants that Rio has or the nightlife that Rio has, but it's a very interesting city. Everywhere you drive, you see a beautiful architecture, and it's a very good standard of living as well. They were very careful with the urban planning of the city, so they built the city in these big spaces, and the city somehow feels very sustainable. There's very, very little traffic jam in Brasilia, which is something that a lot of people are thankful for. So I think that the exhibition gives you a glimpse of what the city is. 200 years ago, Brazil became an independent country. 100 years ago, the modernist fair in São Paulo inaugurated the Brazilian modernist movement. And 60 years ago, Brasilia was inaugurated as the new capital of Brazil. This is all about modernist architecture. I hope you enjoy. The Brazilian embassy, to celebrate the 200 years of Brazilian independence, wanted to exhibit as much as Brazilian culture and architecture and art to our Indian friends as we could. So we organized 4 exhibitions to travel across India. They have been to 10 cities, I think, now in India. This exhibition is the largest of them all. We have 96 photographs. We have about 10 models, big models of the city. So this one has been, as Subarna mentioned, has been in Kolkata, has been in Chandigarh, which is also a very peculiar fact that Chandigarh is a planned city as well. So I was there for the inauguration. It was interesting to talk about Brazilian to the people of Chandigarh. So it's now it's in its 3rd city in India. The National Gallery of Modern Art here is a beautiful building. I think the photographs blend perfectly with the building, with the scenery. So we're very thankful for NGMA, for the director, and to you and to your staff here for all the work. I mean, you did everything. So thank you very much. This is all because of you. And I hope you enjoyed the exhibition, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request our beloved guest for this evening, Mr. Chiranjiv Singh ji, to kindly give his chief guest address.
Senior Lucas Frota, Shri Subarna Patroji, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have inaugurated this exhibition on Brasilia. As a student in Chandigarh, I used to read about Brasilia because both the cities were coming up at about the same time. And therefore, there was an interest in seeing how the two would really grow and develop, for the reason that the designer and main architect of Brasilia, Lucio Costa, was a disciple of Le Corbusier, the designer and architect of Chandigarh. That's the main connection between the two cities. And some of the concepts which are there in Brasilia are there in Chandigarh also. For example, the concept of sectors and the main axes. So there are similarities because the master's views are reflected in the disciples' work also. And of course, both represent a modernism in architecture, though we are now in the postmodern age even in architecture. And both cities are, because of their place in the development of modernism in architecture, are UNESCO's cultural heritage cities. Therefore, this is of great interest to people in Bangalore because we do not know much about the developments in Brazil. The connection between India and Brazil is football, as you all know, but not many people know that Brazilian music has had a profound impact on Indian film music through the Goanese music arrangers. See, Goa was the connection, thanks to the language, to Portuguese language. And most of these music arrangers with great composers like C. Ramchandra and Anil Biswas and others, they were from Goa. And the Brazilian beat from via Portugal was brought to Goa and then to film music in Bombay. And as you know, for most Indians, music is film music. And that's a connection. Especially in the music of film music, of Hindi film music, and all film music, because Hindi film music set the template of the 50s and 60s. The current film music is more influenced by American music, and that explains why Natu Natu won the Oscar. But the classic film music is very much influenced by Brazilian music, so this would come as a surprise to you also. I wish one could play some of those tunes, and you would then realize the impact which Brazilian culture has had indirectly on Indian culture. Of course, the problems with the design cities are that they represent a certain vision of the designer. And whether that vision passes the test of time is yet to be seen. In both cases, the main criticism is that instead of the mix of population in traditional cities, they represent segmented and fragmented areas. This is for the upper class, this is for the middle class, this is for the poor people, etc. Of course, Costa's idea was that you separate this as they have done in Chandigarh. Again, it's segmented. This sector is for the rich, this sector is for the middle class, and this sector is for the common people. The same concept you have there. I remember when I saw the earlier photographs from the 60s of Brasilia, it looked very bare. But now in this documentary which was just shown, which we just saw, one could see a lot of greenery. And you see the trees, the plants, the greenery always softens the impact of concrete. Both the cities, Chandigarh as well as Brasilia, are monuments to concrete in a certain sense, because that's the medium of construction here. Though concrete, as you know, is not long-lasting while brick and mortar is. When Lutyens was designing New Delhi, modernism had already come, especially with the German designers, Weimar Republic and all that. You had Bauhaus already there. And incidentally, Tagore had invited Bauhaus people to Shantiniketan, which is not known here in India. So the impact of modernism was very much there. But Lutyens, when asked what materials he would be using for New Delhi, he said brick and mortar, because they have stood the test of time. No, we don't know. I mean, Chandigarh is already showing signs of deterioration of concrete. I don't know about Brasilia, whether the same thing is there. And one thing was that major buildings which were done by Oscar Niemeyer, Niemeyer never lived to see the completion of his masterpiece. He died before these buildings were completed, but we'll be happy to see the work now. So I thank the Brazilian embassy that they have brought this exhibition to Bangalore. Of course, it had to go to Delhi and Chandigarh. Chandigarh, for the reasons I have already explained, because of the relationship between Costa and Le Corbusier. And Bangalore, because Bangalore is Bangalore. So it's a great pleasure. And I'm happy that this exhibition should enable our students of architecture to see what is happening in other parts of the world. Because Brazil, not many people know about the developments in Brazil, though everybody says that Amazon is the lungs of the world, and therefore the Amazonian forests must be preserved. But the architecture, the culture, the cuisine, etc., we really don't know much about it, except those who are interested in reading about it. I was asking Senor Frota about the indigenous people of Brazil because I've been reading about them, about the native religion, about their customs, etc., etc. And therefore I was interested. But this is the modern face of Brazil. Maybe sometimes next you would probably bring us another exhibition about the traditional face of Brazil, because India is a very traditional society, as you would have discovered in your stay in India. And thank you very much for bringing this exhibition to Bangalore and for giving me this opportunity to say a few words about the cultural relationship between between India and Brazil through our film music and through soccer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Subarnapatro to kindly honor the guests for being with us today for this evening and gracing this occasion. On behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art, Bengaluru, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, I thank one and all for joining us today for this evening and gracing the occasion. I also thank the distinguished guest for making their time and spending the time with us, gracing the occasion. I now request everybody to head towards the exhibition hall for the formal inauguration. And once you conclude viewing, kindly join us at the cafe space. We have arranged some high tea. Please feel comfortable. Good evening. Thank you.